Sometimes when a TV show falls from grace, we all gotta, put a little effort out there to make sure the writers and producers know how we feel about it. And I have come up with a list on how to fix this specific TV show. Hey everybody, this is David, and today I want to talk about how we can make Arrow great again. That's right, I wrote a list here talking about some of the things how Arrow can be great again, because a lot of people have been complaining about Arrow, specifically this season 4. Season 3, it seemed like by the end, some people were still willing to give Arrow another chance, and this season, a lot of people felt like they dropped the ball even more. I felt season 4 was actually a slight improvement over season 3, but that's not saying much. It's still not as good as season 1 and 2. Even I know that. So, I came up with a list, seeing people's complaints. I came up with a list of things that can probably help make Arrow good again, going back to season 1 and 2. And I'll give you my statements right now. So let's get through this. The number one thing that I think Arrow needs to do is go back to its roots. And what I mean by that is go back to being more grounded in reality. I think it's great that The Flash and Supergirl and Legends of Tomorrow are all connected to the Arrowverse. But what I think made season 1 and 2 really good was how grounded the villains were in those seasons. And they were villains that I think Oliver could go up against. Now, I thought Ra's al Ghul was a really good villain as well. I thought he was played up nicely. I just felt the second half of the season didn't execute the rest of the confrontation right. Because let's face it, that episode where Oliver was fighting Ra's al Ghul on the mountain was really badass. And then when Oliver gets stabbed by Ra's, it was freaking amazing. We were all losing our minds. I remember Arrow was trending on Twitter 2 days straight. People were losing their minds over that. And then when they came back, after the break, that's when it seemed like Arrow was starting to go a little bit downhill from there. It was the second half of season 3 that really got people noticing the lack in quality, where the first half of season 3 actually started off really strong. It felt like, season 1 or 2. So that's what I think Arrow needs to go back to, going back to being grounded, because I don't feel that Damien Darhk was a really good fit for this show. I think he was a good villain, but I think he would have served better with characters with superpowers. That's, I think, a show like Legends of Tomorrow or Supergirl or even Flash. I think he would have been a more suitable villain. I think the actor was really good. I just felt in Arrow he didn't fit what Arrow should be. Another thing that I think Arrow needs to go back to is really good action sequences. I think we had a couple of episodes here and there with really good action, but let's face it, the action hasn't been what it was since season 2. I think season 2 was the best choreographed action sequences in the show's history. Sometime after that, starting in season 3, I noticed the action sequences have been kind of not working as well as they used to. I don't know why. I don't know what the specific reason is. Are they spending the budget on something else more rather than choreograph really good fights nowadays? I don't know what's going on, but I hope they start working more on the stunts and the action again, because that was something actually really cool that Arrow was doing really right, and now it seems like Daredevil has stolen their thunder from them. Another thing I have on the list, less flashbacks. I think everybody can agree that these last 2 seasons have been the worst flashbacks in the series' history. Season 1 and 2 had really good flashbacks that really propelled Oliver's journey on the island further, but it seemed like ever since season 3, when they took him off the island and put him in China, they were terrible and boring. They seemed like an afterthought, and they built up to nothing. And then even season 4, when he went back on the island, we were all really excited, thinking it was going to be amazing. And it turned out to just be another season 3 type of flashbacks where it didn't really go anywhere. What I liked about season 1 and 2 is how the flashbacks really tied into the modern day, the present day things that were going on. I really liked that, and I really liked discovering how certain things on the island were progressing. It felt like there was actually a story there. Well, sometimes in season 3 and 4, we get nothing going on in the island, and it seems like it's just there because, well, it's tradition, so we should keep it around. That's what makes Flash and Arrow Flash and Legends of Tomorrow, and even Supergirl, actually better in a lot of ways. They don't need flashbacks all the time, only when it's necessary. And so I hope going into season 5 they cut down on the flashbacks, unless they really are going to be heavily progressing a plot line that's happening on the island. And considering this is Oliver's last year on the island, year 5, this is the year he's supposed to, where we're supposed to meet him at the beginning of season 1, I'm hoping that they really give us something more to really make this year on the island feel special. Another thing that I think a lot of people are not enjoying is Felicity. Let's face it, the show, for a lot of people, the running joke with a lot of fans have been that the show has become more about Felicity rather than Oliver, or Felicity, which is, the combination of names between Oliver and Felicity. Now, I'm going to admit this, I don't think Felicity is that bad, but I understand the complaints that people have. Felicity does seem to be sharing the title with Oliver nowadays, when the show should be about Oliver Queen, because that's the character we are watching this show about. We want to watch it because of Green Arrow, not because of Felicity and Green Arrow, So tone down on the relationships a little bit. I think Flash is handling their relationships a lot better than Arrow's relationships, and that's what Arrow needs to learn from, that, hey, you don't have to rub these relationships in our faces. Now, with that being said, I actually do think Felicity was a lot more Felicity was a huge improvement this season over last season. That's just me, but I'm sure there's other people that feel the same way. Felicity is not the problem, it's the writing and how they're handling it. Another thing that I think everybody will agree with me on this one, bring back Laurel Lance, aka Black Canary. Now, let's face this, Laurel Lance, it was a huge mistake to kill her off. I think a lot of people, that's definitely what set this whole situation on fire with season 4. Things were going good until you guys killed off Laurel, then the hate really started. And I totally understand, and I don't mind it when shows or movies change things that are not in the comics, and I was okay with Laurel's death. I thought she was written out pretty well, but there are a lot of people that feel the opposite. They feel that they did this because of Felicity, once again. And even though, okay, maybe so, I thought Laurel was given a good send-out, but everyone's allowed to have their own opinion. But with that being said, guys, if you are a Laurel Lance Oliver shipper, I just want to say, maybe you shouldn't give up hope quite yet completely, Because, let's remember, Flash did an episode recently where Laurel from Earth 2 came by as the Black Siren and was captured by Team Flash, and now she's put into prison. I don't know, maybe we could see this Laurel from Earth 2 escape. Maybe, Team Arrow could try to redeem her and try to convert her over to the good side. I was told by someone on a message board, I don't know how much this is true, that in the comics, the original Black Canary was from Earth 2. So I don't know how much of that is accurate. I don't know too much about the comic book counterpart of Black Canary, but it is a possibility for Arrow to bring back Katie Cassidy as Laurel. Maybe not the Laurel that we knew, but the Laurel from Earth 2 that's captured by Team Flash. And something interesting that I think that it would give the show would allow to fix Laurel, because let's face it, a lot of people did have issues with Laurel. I complained about her quite a lot, especially during season 1 and 2. Not too much season 1, but season 2 and a little bit in season 3. Season 4, I was really loving Laurel. I thought they were fixing her. I thought they were getting her right finally. But clearly they killed her off, maybe because there were some people still complaining. I don't know. But this is a way they can now bring back a new Laurel with a new backstory and maybe even make her more interesting than the Laurel we used to know. And like this, we don't get people complaining that, oh, Laurel doesn't know how to fight yet. This would be a Laurel that knows how to kick ass already, because she's probably trained for so long for all we know. Finally, the last thing on my list is get rid of Marc Guggenheim. Obviously, this is the guy in charge because Greg Berlanti and Andrew Kreisberg are all taking care of all these TV shows that they've started. Not just the DC stuff, but other TV shows as well. And Marc Guggenheim is the one that people blame because of all of this. Now, I don't know how much of this is true, but it's possible. It is possible. He does seem to be the one talking about Arrow the most. And maybe he does have a lot of leeway into what happens on the show. Maybe he is a huge Felicity shipper. I don't know. I'm hoping I'm wrong on this, and I'm hoping that maybe he does plan to bring back Laurel eventually, with my little theory that I just gave you on how they could bring her back. But anything is possible. Maybe he is a huge Felicity shipper and he's going to have them come back. We'll know by next season because, guys, let's remember, Felicity is still not back together yet. They have still broken apart. They seem just like really good friends again. And that's what I think the show is trying to do, is trying to get back on course with what season 1 and 2 were, you know? And what did people really love about season 1 and 2 was the original Team Arrow, which they've been kind of pushing at that idea by the end of this season. Even Felicity points that out when her, Diggle, and Oliver are the last 3 in the room. She even says, hey, look, it's us again, the original Team Arrow. And who knows, maybe that's what they're trying to get back to. I say let's give Marc Guggenheim another chance at this season. Let's see what he gives. Let's see if he can redeem this and make Arrow season 5 just as good as season 1 and 2, because that's what Arrow really needs to get back to its core roots. And when you want Arrow to go up against superpowered beings, let him team up with the Flash, let him team up with Supergirl, because the crossovers have been some of the fun stuff that we've really been enjoying from Arrow. Some people have even joked that the crossover with Arrow and Legends of Tomorrow was probably the best episode of Arrow that wasn't even on Arrow. So whether you agree with that statement or not, you know, we do want Arrow to go back to its roots and what made it cool. Give us a really good villain like Slade or like Malcolm Merlyn, and maybe even get rid of Malcolm Merlyn. That should have been another one on my list that I should have added. I don't know. Tell me, guys, what do you think? How should Arrow fix itself? I don't think canceling the show would be the right way to fix itself. I want 4 DC shows on the same network. I want them crossing over, because we can still agree the Arrow and Flash crossovers have been a lot of fun. So do you really want that to end when Supergirl is now joining the network? I think we're going to have 4 DC shows crossing over on 1 week. I think that is an amazing idea, and I can't wait to see it. So instead of getting rid of one of those shows, why don't we just try to fix it instead? So hopefully if you guys can make a lot of noise with this video and give your ideas, who knows, maybe the writers and the producers will see it and they'll be like, you know what, the fans want us to go back to old school Arrow, let's go back to old school Arrow. Give us the good writing, give us the good characters, give us the good story arcs. That's what we want again. And focus on Oliver, not Oliver and Felicity. This is Oliver's show, and that's the character we want to see the most and understand the most and follow his journey. And that's how we make Arrow great again. So guys, like this video if you agree with me. Comment below and, you know, share your thoughts, because I want to know what other things I left off the list that Arrow should be fixing. And subscribe to my channel, because I'll be reviewing, once again, all the episodes of Arrow next season, as well as The Flash and Legends of Tomorrow. And like this video, I think I said that, I'm not sure. Check out me on my podcast, which I'll put in the description box below, as well as Twitter and Facebook. And with all that being said, guys, take care.